Hello there, this is Bibi Cameron, and today we are going to be making these super fun interactive Slimline cards. They pop up and they also have a spinner. These are super duper easy to make and there are different spinner designs. We have a nutcracker, a snowman, and a Christmas tree. That is this one here, and I use those elements also to make this super easy pop-up box card that folds flat for easy mailing and that I'm going to be sharing next week in another video. So to make all these, I'm going to be using Scrappy Tales supplies, and here I have the dies we need to create this kind of interactive slimline cards. These two dies here will create the card base, and the other three dies that I have here will create the spinners. The first thing we need to do is to understand the dies. We need to use pliers to separate the dies. This will take a few minutes, and then we are going to start die cutting the paper. I'm using here my Spellbinders Platinum 8 inches die cutting machine. It's a large die cutting machine, so I have plenty room to work there. And just by looking at the dies, I noticed that I have to use the larger frame die to die cut the window in the card base because this one is too small for the project today. So the only die cutting tip that I'm going to share with you today is to make sure that you keep the dies together by using low tack tape. This will allow you to die cut multiple shapes in the exact same way, so all of them are going to be identical, and we need 4 of these frames for the card base initially, and we can add any decorative frame later on. So I'm going to adhere 2 of these frames together just like that, and this is to make those pieces more stable. You can also die cut thicker cardstock if you want to. For these pieces here, I want you to use 240 grams cardstock, and these are accordions, and because the scoring lines created by the dies are not perfectly scored, you might find a little bit tricky to fold over those scoring lines and to get a straight fold. So I'm using a ruler here to help me to do that, and once I have done the first 3 scoring lines, it's very easy to fold the rest of the accordion. There are 2 very close scoring lines in this part of this piece here. I want to show you that with detail, and this will create a bay to be able to sit there the front panel of the card. So your accordion should look like this, so pay attention, and the panels of this card will sit on the accordion just like that. There is another little accordion that you are going to need for the top of the card, and it's this one here. All you have to do is to fold this in half and then bend the paper like so. So this one is very easy to do, and then you have to fold the side panels in half as well, and then bend the paper like so to create those side accordions. You need 2 of those. Now I'm going to use liquid glue. This is Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm going to adhere this just behind that panel. This is the back of the card, and you can see that this accordion is shaped, so it has the same shape of the base of those panels. And then I'm going to add glue here, and I'm going to adhere this panel that is the front panel of the card. You need to make sure that the paper is aligned, so take your time to do this. Once this is done, this piece is going to look like that, and you will see that those pieces are looking a little bit flimsy, but that will change, don't worry. Now I'm going to glue this piece here that goes here at the top, just like that. And if you want to, you can adhere the side panels after doing this, but I'm going to do that at the very end because I just want to have access to the inside of the card. It's just a thing of mine. You can do it in this moment or later on, and all you have to do is to adhere these side panels or accordions just like that, and by doing that your card base will be done. All you have to do is to embellish and adhere a spinner if you want to. I was experimenting and I found that these side panels are essential to guarantee the stability of this project. Of course, if I push them, they will fall, like if you push any other card. You don't use the side panels and you add plenty elements to this project, is going to fall backwards or forwards. Anyways, from here the sky's the limit. I'm going to show you a couple of samples or things you can do. So I die cut a frame out of a piece of Artisa acrylic paper that I previously painted using Artisa iridescent paints. And now I'm adding Tim Holtz crackle paste through a stencil, and I'm going to allow this to dry while I put together the spinner. So I'm going to put together a snowman, and this is extremely easy and it's completely up to you, the colors, the kind of cardstock you use to do this. I just want to show you here how I do it, so perhaps it helps you to put together all the pieces in the right place. Although this one and the Christmas tree are extremely easy, it's a little bit different with the Nutcracker because it has so many pieces and lots of detail, but it's just gorgeous, and I'm going to show you how to assemble that one in a minute. But for now, I'm going to show you how to put together the spinner. So I'm just adding double-sided tape to keep that twine in place. I'm cutting a large piece of twine because I don't know how long I need this to be, and then I'm gluing this snowman back to back. Although they don't align perfectly when you glue them back to back, I'm just using a black paint to cover those areas that are more noticeable, but honestly you can barely see that little detail. So I'm using black soot and also walnut stained distress inks over these pieces just to add a little bit of contrast, and then I'm going to decorate this card. All I have to do is to adhere that frame at the front, and you can keep this flap here or you can also crop it to keep it for this card. And I'm going to use dimensional foam pads to adhere this in place like so, and then I'm going to add the spinner. You can add the spinner in different ways. I'm just going to insert the twine through that little hole in that top piece, and I'm going to wrap it around that piece like so to finally make a knot underneath. And then I cut any excess of twine, and let me show you here how this looks underneath. So it's just like that. This is going to allow this to spin just fine, and it's going to secure the spinner in place. And then I add any decorative piece, also the side panels. I like to add these accordion side panels at the very end, but it's just my thing. You can add this in any moment you consider that you want to do it, and you will see that by adding this, the card looks a lot more sturdy and is a lot more sturdy. So that's a very basic sample, and a top tip is not gluing any embellishment beyond the die cut window in the center, because that can stop your spinner from moving and you don't want that. So I have this other spinner card here, and for that one I did exactly the same. The difference is the paper I used, the colors, and of course the die set. So for the red card I used the Nutcracker, and I also added a hot foiled sentiment. And the snowman or the Nutcracker or the Christmas tree, that is this one here, measures about 5.5 inches, and you can use these to make different projects. So next week I'm going to be showing you how to make this pop-up box card using those dies and other dies by Scrappy Tales, and you will see that by changing the colors your projects are going to look completely different. Last but not least, I also want to show you how to put the Nutcracker together. It was one of the things that took me longer because some of the pieces or the little die cuts are evident and you know where they go, but some others were not as easy to identify. So you need to identify the dies first to be able to die cut the different cardstock colors for your project. And you just need to do a first sample, and from there it's a lot easier and quicker. Okay, you already know how to put together the card, and one of the things I was worried about was the envelope. It didn't fit in a standard Slimline envelope and neither in a DL envelope. So I noticed that it will fit in this envelope that I made using a Simon Says stamp die set, but you need to crop anything that is sticking out the borders of that card. And I decided to share with you how I made that envelope too. So I just went ahead and I die cut some designer series paper, and this die set to make envelopes only includes two dies. One that will cut that larger piece for the envelope, and this one here that only will cut the paper in one direction. So this is something you need to bear in mind when you are using double-sided paper. You need to die cut one piece out of the backing of that paper so that when you turn this around, everything will look the same color or the same pattern. So putting these envelopes together is extremely easy. You just need to fold over the scoring lines created by the die. You won't see them, but you will be able to feel them. And if you use this thin paper to make envelopes, it's super easy to find those folding lines and to fold them with your hands. And then you have to align and adhere the pieces like so. I'm using here liquid glue. This is Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I love it. It's easy to use. It dries fast. It provides a permanent bond. And I'm also adding here some invisible tape. This is just tape, and that's just to make sure that this envelope is going to remain all together, because we are going to put something very bulky and something that it has dimension and is pushing up the paper. And thinking about that, I'm also gluing the envelope in a way that is going to give me more storage capacity. So you will understand that in 1 second when you see the difference between a flat envelope for a flat card and for this card. So the envelope has that storage space for the card. It's not like this one that is flat. And then before putting the card in the envelope, we are going to wind that spinner. We're going to be very careful when putting this inside the envelope. And when the recipient receives this and take the card out of the envelope, it will spin straight away. They can also display this card in a different way, and it's just a beautiful different way to create cards for those who will love and also to enjoy crafting. So that's all for today. I'm so sorry I have a cold and I was voiceless last week, and I'm getting my voice back, so I just took the chance to share this with you. I hope you like it, and that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel or visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration. Find supply list and links to my blog and shops below this video and also in the first comment. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!